Consuelo Hernandez. I'm the director of the Santa Clara County Office of Supportive Housing. Thank you for joining us this evening for the second community meeting. We are going to start off by allowing Pastor John Caravallo to share some words with us.
There's seating upstairs as well, so for those of you that are coming in, you're more than welcome to grab a seat upstairs. I want to thank all of you for being here. This is such an exciting moment in the history of our neighborhood, to be able to have a face-to-face conversation. And I'm mindful of all of the conversations that have been going on. I was on the Zoom call last week, and friends, I just want to welcome you here. I want to thank you that you have taken very valuable time to come and have a conversation. My true prayer is that we can listen to each other and that we can have a resolute conversation that respects each other and can move forward positively. I think of the great Dr. Martin Luther King, who continually talked about peaceful meetings, to have discussions about tough topics as such as we're dealing with right now. So my prayer for each and every one of you is that you sense a peace and a sense of welcoming here, and that we can have dialogue. And I want to thank all the people that are involved that are doing the tough work to really determine what needs to be done. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor. Just a few housekeeping for those that need to use the facilities. The women's restroom is just down the hall. The gentleman's restroom is on the left, right outside this door. When you walk in, you should have received a comment card. And if we can go to the next slide, please. As you know, we are here. Thank you again, Pastor, for allowing us to use this space. We want to be respectful and mindful of the fact that we have a very limited amount of time. We're here for 2 hours, and then we need to end the meeting and return the facility back to the congregation. So you received the comment card. We are allowing 1 hour for public comment. If you don't get to speak, please fill this out and bring it up here before the end of the evening. If you want more time to fill it out, our email addresses are on the bottom of the sheet, as well as the project website, where you can get updates. We will be posting, in the first slide we shared with you that the meeting is being recorded. Thank you to the city staff for accommodating that. We will be posting the video on the website tomorrow along with the slides. I also did for the public want to acknowledge that we have a member of the public who is using their own recording device in the corner. So don't be alarmed if you see somebody that's also recording. So if you didn't get one of these, please see Lily in the back, and she will ensure that you get one. The agenda for this evening, first, we will go through background. For those of you that didn't join us at the first community meeting, we'll provide you with a summary and an overview. And then we'll spend a little time sharing with you what we heard. At the first meeting, the various and multiple emails that we have been receiving, we are capturing all of that and sharing it with the elected officials. And then we'll go over through a summary of the proposal, and then again, leave about 1 hour for comments. Next slide, please. We'll do welcome and introductions. Next slide. We have a few ground rules. Thank you, Pastor, for setting the tone of for the meeting. And I hope you all can hear me. I'm very short. Many thanks again to our host, the Mission City Church. Please be respectful when you're speaking later this evening. Recognize that we all have our individual comments and opinions, and they're unique, and we all need the space to share those. Be patient with the community engagement process. We have designated and designed a pretty lengthy process. Next slide. The host of the meeting tonight, again, my name is Consuelo Hernandez. I'm the director with the Office of Supportive Housing for the County of Santa Clara. I'm also joined by my colleagues from the City of Santa Clara, Life Moves, and the Sobrato Philanthropy. Next slide, please. The meeting objectives. Number one is we want to address the concerns that were raised by the community during the first community meeting. We want to share the first draft of the proposal and ask specific questions to you all, and then create a space to answer questions and listen to the community. And before we get going, we want to see who's in the room. And we will have people taking notes, but if you can raise your hand if you live in Santa Clara or Sunnyvale. Let's try that one more time. Can you raise your hand if you live in Santa Clara? Marie's going to take a picture. Thank you, everybody. Can you raise your hand if you live in the city of Sunnyvale? Some folks upstairs. Hi. Can you raise your hand if you've lived in the neighborhood for 1 year? 1 year. Have you lived in the neighborhood for 1 year? At least 1 year. Keep your hands raised if you've lived here for 5 years. At least 5 years. More than 10 years. Thank you. 10 years plus. Can you raise your hand if you attended our first meeting via Zoom on February 13th? Thank you. Can you raise your hand if you have visited the project webpage and signed up for email updates? Again, folks, when you walked in, you received a comment card. Please visit the website. This is where we will be updating you as information comes through. For instance, this afternoon, we sent out an email notifying you that the meeting is being recorded, that it is being posted. We also posted a series of FAQs. So if you have not visited the website, please do so. The link is at the bottom of the comment card. Next slide, please. Next slide. And thank you for bearing with us as we navigate our first in-person meeting. So we wanted to give you a little bit of background and context on why we're here. So what you have up here is a policy alignment between the City of Santa Clara and the County of Santa Clara. Both of our respective elected officials, City Council, and the Board of Supervisors have directed staff to look at opportunities to increase interim housing. And interim housing is basically a respite space for people who are currently unhoused and are trying to recover and find housing. And our both elected officials have asked us to do this work. And they have asked us for one common thing: do community engagement. And I know it's really hard as community members to feel like you don't know what's going on. I'm going to walk you through the steps that we're proposing as part of our community engagement. Next slide, please. Earlier this year, the City Council held a study session where we, the county, offered the opportunity to use the Benton and Lawrence site for interim housing. And we wanted the City Council first to let us know whether it was worth going out and talking to you, or if it was a pass, go look at another property. They said yes, but we want you to go and talk to the community, and not talk to them once or twice, but really engage and listen. We held our first meeting February 13th via Zoom. And a lot of you didn't like the webinar style because you couldn't see yourself, you couldn't see each other. So we proposed to do this in-person meeting, and we are recording it, we will be posting it. We have a third meeting scheduled for March 9th. We cannot promise that we'll be able to have a hybrid model, but we will be here in person. And to accommodate those that can't join us, we will be having a fourth meeting via Zoom. We hope that through those 4 meetings, you're able to learn more about the project, that we are able to answer your questions, and also directly respond to some of the concerns that you've shared. We're going to start some of that tonight. Next slide, please. So I realize it's very small, and you will have the opportunity to see the presentation if you visit the project website. But what we've done is taking your comments and one more. That one, thank you so much. We've categorized them or grouped them into 7 categories. I will briefly describe them here, and then with my colleagues, we'll go over and actually respond to some of your questions or concerns. What we heard is the approval process. Is this a done deal? How do I vote? How do I share with my elected officials my opinions and my thoughts about the site? How did you select this site? Why here? Why did you do it so close to the neighborhood? What about my kids? What about if I want to walk to the park? Did you think about that? Safety and security. How are you going to ensure the safety of our community? How are you going to ensure the safety of the people that are occupying and living in the units? Impacts on real estate values. I worked really hard to buy this property, and now this is going to impact the value of my home. Information on similar sites. You asked for data. You wanted to know, what do other communities that have these types of developments, what are they seeing? What are their impacts to the neighborhood? And show us the data, show us information. You also expressed some concerns about parking. There is not enough parking around your community, and how is this project going to impact that? Are you accounting for staff parking and participant parking? How are you going to handle the overflow? And by the way, the church next door uses this site as overflow parking. How are you going to address that? And then the last was the site and the monitoring. How are you going to operate this? We're concerned about this thing that you call low barrier entry, and how are you going to ensure our safety and security? Next slide. We're going to go through each topic slowly, and then you're going to hear from other people, and not just me. Thank you. So the first area is the approval process. This is not a done deal. As I mentioned earlier, the City Council and the Board of Supervisors asked us to come out and speak to you and hear about your concerns, try to mitigate those concerns through our responses, and give you the opportunity to modify the proposal where appropriate. That was the first action. We're coming out, doing community engagement. We plan to return back to the City Council with a set of recommendations based on what we've heard from the community. Every email that you send us, every comment that you submit tonight will be packaged as a community engagement report to the City Council and to the Board of Supervisors. So the City Council has a decision to make whether they want to move forward with a possible home key application, and the county has a decision to make whether we want to lease the property to Life Move or to the city. So there's 2 opportunities for you to voice your direct opinions to our elected officials. If you don't want to do that via email and you want to attend in person, those are the 2 opportunities. Assuming that moves forward, then Life Moves would work to submit a NOFA application through the Home Key program. That would basically leverage resources, and it's very competitive, and there isn't a lot of money in this next round. So assuming that happens and they get an award, then they would start working on the development plans, construction, coming back and talking to you again about the timeline. And then if that happens and the project is completed, then we would have a series of other meetings to let you know, what are we going to do about outreach? How would we target people that are unhoused in Santa Clara, et cetera, et cetera. All of that only happens if the City Council and the Board of Supervisors approve it. Next slide.